Hello everybody, Bad Weather Freak here. I have a brand new video for you guys. We're gonna talk about Major Hurricane Laura. This is serious. You guys need to by now be prepared. I mean, this is a big event for the Texas, extreme west part of Texas to the far, well, the opposite, west part of Louisiana, east part of Texas. This look like it's gonna make landfall in the border of Texas and Louisiana, but this is not supposed to make landfall probably for another um, potentially 14, 16 hours. So still has time to shift. If you guys are in that area, anywhere from Galveston to again the border of Louisiana, you guys need to be paying attention. Lake Charles, all that area is going to be probably the ground zero. Now, one thing that really caught my eye was that this hurricane actually has become so well organized in the past probably 8 hours, 9 hours. You know, you didn't have no visible eye in as far as last night. In a matter of 8 hours, it did this. I mean, it went from a category 1 to a category 2. Now, Katrina did the exact same thing, almost in the exact same spot. I mean, a little bit further east, but it did the same thing. In 9 hours, it jumped 2 categories. That's exactly what Laura did. Laura went from a category 1 to category 3 in a matter of like probably about the same amount of time. Now, as you can see here in the satellite imagery, you can tell how well defined the eye is and how symmetrical Laura looks, which is obviously a sign that intensified, and also that is going to continue intensifying. You see the outflow bands, all these clouds that look like feathers. That's another sign that of intensification. Now, according to the National Hurricane Center, we got Hurricane Laura as of a 7 a.m. update, which is it's Central Standard Time, so that's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Florida or in the East Coast. It's moving northwest at 15. That's not good because it also means that it slowed down actually. Pressure is at 963 with winds of 150 miles an hour, and that's sustained. So obviously has wind gusts that are higher than that. Now, as far as the wind probabilities, you can see that the majority of Louisiana is on the worst part because you got to remember, guys, the east part of a storm is basically what is the strongest part. Now, of course, aside from the center, but right now the center is down here. So to get to make a landfall, it still has another roughly like another 14 hours to 16 hours. It's supposed to make landfall right after midnight. So it still has time to intensify. Now, the one thing is that I'm a little concerned is the fact that if in 9 hours it jumped 2 categories, there's always a chance that it could do the same thing. Now, if it does the same thing, and let's say in another 8 or 9 hours, and it jumps to category 5, that will be even worse. I mean, that will be even more catastrophic than what it is right now. Now, it's expected to potentially make landfall as a category 4, but we will have to see how the day plays out. So, like I said here, you got your tropical storm wind speed probabilities. You're gonna a broad area is gonna get a pretty good amount. The one thing is that this storm is a decent sized storm, but it's not a Irma storm, which it was hundreds and hundreds of miles wide, like over 500 miles wide. Up to now, it seems like Hurricane Laura is about 350 miles wide, which is still a big area, but it's not as big as older storms. Now let's take a look at the arrival of time. So right now um, it's saying Wednesday at 2 p.m. But when you look at the cone here, you can see that the center is supposed to actually make landfall around 1 a.m. on Thursday. So still has a lot of time. As far as the key messages, life-threatening storm surge with large and dangerous waves is expected to produce potentially catastrophic damage to the or from San Luis Pass, Texas, to the mouth of the Mississippi River, including the areas inside Port Arthur. So Port Arthur seems to be ground zero, I believe. The surge could penetrate up to 30 miles inland from the immediate coastline in southwestern Louisiana and southeastern Texas. 30 miles inland for storm surge is a lot. So just don't think that because you live in the coast, right in front of the beach, that's it. No, it's gonna go really, really deep inside. Action to protect life and property should be rushed to completion as water levels will begin to rise later today. So you guys, if you are in the area, you only have a few hours to get ready for this storm. Hurricane force winds are expected tonight in the warning area from San Luis Pass, Texas, excuse me, to western Morgan City, Louisiana. And the strongest winds associated with the Laura's eyewall will occur somewhere within the area. Hurricane force winds and widespread damaging wind gusts are also expected to spread well inland into portions of eastern Texas and western Louisiana early Thursday. So even though it's going to make landfall at 1 a.m., throughout the whole morning as it moves inland, it's still going to cause issues and power outages and damage, basically. Widespread flash flooding along small streams, urban areas, and roadways is expected to begin this afternoon into Thursday from far east Texas across Louisiana and Arkansas. This will also lead to minor to isolated moderate freshwater river flooding. The heavy rainfall threat and localized flash and urban flooding potential will spread northwestward into the middle of Mississippi, lower Ohio, and Tennessee valleys Friday night and Saturday. So this is an event that is going to take place in multiple states, not just where it makes landfall, in other words. So if you guys are in the path, like this area, you guys need to prepare also. You're not going to get category 3, category 4 hurricane winds, but you're going to get something. And then usually what you get is heavy rainfall, some flooding, how the National Hurricane Center just mentioned. So the potential of the rain, you can see 10 to 15 inches of rain, very possible in the area that is going to make landfall, right at the Texas and Louisiana border. The peak of the surge. Now this is a very interesting. 10 to 15, 8 to 12. I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot of storm surge if you live near the coast. So please pay attention and evacuate if you have to. It's gonna be very hard probably today, but you should have done that a while ago, or not a while ago, but probably yesterday or last night. You may still have a chance because it still has like 10 hours, 12 hours to make landfall. But this is something that pay attention because this is catastrophic. Now let's. I already show you guys the satellite imagery here. Now let me show you. I show you the cone. Let's go ahead and show you the spaghetti models. At this point, spaghetti models don't really matter because you're so close to landfall that yes, it could deviate a little bit, but wherever it goes, I mean, you pretty much are gonna feel the storm severely. As far as intensity guideline, you can see that the majority of the intensity guidelines obviously take it to a category 3. It is already a 3, so there's no brainer on that. But a decent number may take it closer to a category 4, so it's gonna strengthen a little bit more for sure, and then off the cliff falls basically as soon as it makes landfall. So it's gonna weaken dramatically immediately after landfall. Now this is interesting. So with Laura making landfall today, I mean today is August 26th. If you guys remember, Hurricane Harvey made landfall on August 26th. So exactly 3 years later, you're gonna have a potential Texas almost direct landfall by another major hurricane. Now the interesting also thing here is that Laura's landfall will set a record. So it will become the 7th named storm to hit the continental US before the end of August, breaking the current record of 6. So that's an interesting point there, that Laura is going to break the record for the 7th storm to make landfall in the same season before the end of August. Now, this is a pretty cool graph here, or not graph, but image here. I'm going to show you what the hurricane hunters are actually looking at right now. So let's go ahead and wait for that to load up a little bit. Now, this is what the hurricane hunters do to figure out how strong a storm is, where it's going, all those things. You see these are pods that they drop, and they measure the pressure and the wind speed and all that. You can see here 966. So look like the center of circulation is here, 964. Let me take a look at this one here, 980. So as you go out further away, the pressure starts rising because it's not as strong away from the center circulation. So you're gonna have those winds at 150, 120 miles an hour winds right at the center, basically. And this is what the hurricane hunters do to measure the center and measure the strength of a hurricane and get some data to feed to the forecast models. Let's take a look, talking about those, let's take a look at the forecast model, see what else are they saying. GFS. GFS has it basically about what it is, the strength that it is right now making landfall. So it's a major category 3 major hurricane. The European model has it actually a little stronger, 940. So that's a category 4 hurricane making landfall. So GFS has that as a 3. European has that as a 4. Now the new GFS has it also stronger, about 10 millibars less, so a little stronger. Canadian model has it weaker, as 981. Navy has it as quite a bit weaker. Now let's take a look at the HWRF. HWRF has been actually flip-flopping this and really blowing it up. But it looked like finally has decided to have a 937. At one point it had low 900s, but the difference is that it has it making landfall further east than the current site, which is around here. So it has it on 2676 north, roughly 93.18 west. So a little bit further east than the current what the current track is. Now the HMON, let's see what the HMON has. Okay, so the HMON has about the same intensity and just a smidge west from the HWRF. So they're in pretty good agreement. I mean, but at this point, it's one of those things that, you know, any forecast model can be about any, because we saw some that were not, but about any forecast model could be right. You know, they're so close to landfall that at this point, anybody can be right. But that's what we have there. Let's go back to see if it takes a little bit to load up. But anyways, this is what I wanted to show you guys. Stay safe. Subscribe to my channel for more information. Depending how things go, I might make another video later today, as today is basically, in a sense, landfall day, even though it's after midnight that it's supposed to. But as everything develops and changes, we are going to keep you posted. But so far, stay safe, finish your preparations if you live anywhere from Houston to, you know, the central part of Louisiana, because it can shift. And you know, it only takes a little move to the right or to the left, 30, 40 miles, and you're going to be much more in danger than where it was before, just because of moved that little bit, you know. So stay safe, finish your preparations, hunker down. By now, few pointers I can give you: board up your windows, of course, if you haven't, your doors, or at least obviously leave one door open to get out of the house in case you have to in an emergency. But pick up any loose items in the outside, any petty furniture, any plants that can become projectiles against your own home. Finish, getting water. Prepare that this may be, you may be without power for a while. People, so generators, batteries, all these different things, flashlights, you're gonna need them. Food, the experts always say, make sure you have enough for at least 3 days, because yes, this is gonna be probably make landfall and be gone in 3 days, but the effects are not. We talked about all the flooding that you're gonna have indoor, coming inland. So all those things you definitely gotta prepare for at this point. You're running out of time. Today is the day that you have to finish everything. So you can see here, parts of Louisiana are already getting some effects of this storm. You can see how all these bands are starting to hit New Orleans, all that. So things are going to start deteriorating from now on. Things are going to start going downhill. So now is your time to keep preparing and finish those preparations. But I'll see you later. See you guys. Subscribe to my channel. Like my videos. Any comments, any questions, put them in the comment section below.